Hello. It's Monday night. Yeah, it's been a day. Ooh, I see people talking in the Matrix chat. Hell yeah. Let's see. Mike's not muted. Cool. Pull my chats up. Okay, cool. So, yeah, it's been a day. Worked on some stuff. Let's see. Let's pull up the Ergot repo and see what we have. So we got another new contributor. We got Tommaso made his first. Ooh, excuse me. Tommaso made his first PR in here. The build's a little broken right now, but I decided to do that because Tommaso had some good ideas, and I thought things were going one way, and they actually went the other way. So Tommaso had a PR to add the logger, which was interesting because I didn't realize the log macros let you include a specific sync. So, like, when I say sync, I mean, like, where you actually put the logs. Which means that internally to Ergot, we can get around the problem of logging about logging about logging. And so he put some of the initial groundwork down and kind of showed me how that worked, which was pretty cool. And then I have a follow-up PR that iterates on that a bit to do some things automatically. So a big thing is that normally when you just call like log or info or debug or whatever, that it just calls the global logger. So I basically just have a bunch of plumbing in here so that by default, the Ergot will default to using the default logger, like the global default logger. If you tell Ergot to say, like, hey, give me a logger so that I can use Ergot as my log sync. So, like, the user's application is sending logs and you want to send it through Ergot into somewhere else, like from your microcontroller to your PC or whatever. Then what it actually does is it disables the internal logging of Ergot. So we don't, like, log about logging, or at least that's the goal. Again, I'm just putting some plumbing down, and we'll eventually come back and make it do that. And then you also, if you really want to, you can give it a manual logger that it will use instead. So, for example, if you wanted to send the user's application logs over the network, but you want to have, like, Ergot's logs itself printed out to standard out, for example, for testing or something like that, you would still be able to do that. And Tommaso showed me how to do that, which is pretty cool. So I have a PR up for that. I think Tommaso is gonna take a look at it tonight, and we'll maybe get it merged. What up, Alexandra? Glad to see you here. Yeah, you haven't missed much. I'm going over some PRs for today. We got Tommaso's first PR landed, which I'm very excited about. And then I'm kind of iterating on that, and hopefully we'll have the log sync stuff working pretty well. I think it turned out pretty cool. I think we already talked about Nine Names stuff from this morning. I'm not sure. I probably merged this on stream. But yeah, I do need to come back and clean this up a bit. Or if anyone who's watching wants, we gotta figure out how to expose the critical section feature. I wonder why I didn't just do that automatically, but I'll figure it out. Tommaso had gotten the log stuff going a couple days, and so I wanted to get that landed. So we could have nice things. Yeah, Alexandra couldn't be here because of morning meetings. well, definitely check out the recording if you want. I get to show off some fun graphical demo stuff. But I mean, you're also hanging out in chat, so you've probably seen me talk about it for the last like entire weekend. But glad to have you here. I should be back at. Yeah, no, I need to figure out my schedule because, like I said, I started slow rolling into the current client work, and they have a standing meeting at 10 on Mondays, which sometimes it goes longer than half an hour. So I don't know. I think 11 is probably what I'll move to on Monday. But yeah. So I think I spent most of the today on the log stuff and some not Ergot stuff. Got to do some testing for embassy stuff, which is nice. But yeah, I think I still got some cleanups to do for 9 Names stuff. I'm trying to think what else is up next that could maybe be interesting this week. I know, Alexandra, you said last time we want to get bridging going. That might actually be pretty cool to do. I also chatted with some of the Espressive people in the ESP32 room. Because I have that long-standing PR to get the remote stuff, like radio Wi-Fi stuff going. Bridging. What? Yeah, so I don't know. I'm open to suggestion. Bridging. Oh, that's what you're trying to say. Bridging. Yes. Bridging might be the next thing to do. At least getting some design work for that, or at least like figuring out, okay, cool, what do we have now? Maybe trying to make like very easy and bad versions of some of the routing stuff. Now that we have the heapless dep in there, I'm more inclined to just be like, you know what? We'll just use heapless for that. And then at some point I might try and be more clever. But I think that could be an interesting thing next. I think Anatol also mentioned, based on like the 9 Name stuff, of it'd be useful to have a like here try out these demos section in the book. And either like do a walkthrough, well, probably both, do a walkthrough of the stood demos and do a walkthrough of the embedded demos, especially the ones, if we get bridging working, I'll get a cool demo working with PC to Raspberry Pi 4 to Raspberry Pi to STM32F3. Hell yeah, that sounds like a very cool demo. But yeah, I'm always trying to balance like adding new features and stuff that unblocks people from trying Ergot out, which is funny because I was like, hey, I've got 5 weeks to work on Ergot. I'm going to try and get so many features done. And actually, I've spent a lot, like if you look at all the pull requests in the last like 3-4 weeks, a lot of them are docs and cleanup. But honestly, I think that's good because especially if I'm going to go back to like not having as much time to work on it, it's way easier to just make little fixes if all the dirt is cleaned up. So it's been good. Occasionally I'm like, I'm kind of bummed I didn't get more feature stuff done. But honestly, I'm very happy with how reasonable the repo is looking and how many folks have been able to use the docs and stuff like that. And there's still stuff to do, but it makes it way easier to just pop in for an hour or two and do something cool, or if I have one day to do something cool. So we'll see. We'll see how that decision paid off, but I think it was the right one. But yeah, I definitely want to get bridging. I think getting bridging working this week would be very neat. Alexander, if you want to share any like, I'm trying to think how much routing you actually need for that. Because honestly, if you have a use case in mind, if you can say, okay, I need A, B, and C, that gives me something really specific to work against. And I think I can probably imagine what we need for basic bridging. I think probably what I'd end up doing is having a profile that has like an upstream and a downstream. Or really like you have one default route and then maybe non-default routes. One of the things that I want to look into is we have the concept, like profiles have a concept of interface IDs. So figuring out how to use those as like the keys. So when you say like you have a map of basically address, or not even addresses, but just like net IDs to interface IDs basically. And I think that could be interesting. But yeah, it'd be, if you have any specific requests, let me know, or what you need to make it work, let me know. Otherwise, yeah, bridging's probably the next like big feature. Like I said, the other thing that I might want to work on is that pull request, the remote stuff, because I need to come take a stab at that again, because lifetimes were bad before, but I think now that I've squashed the two ergots together, it might be easier. And I've gotten better at figuring out like what good patterns are for the net stack handle stuff. So yeah. Yeah, if you just need bridging. Okay, yeah, let me see if I can get to that. Yeah. I don't think I have anything else. I think that's probably what I have done today and what I'm going to do for the rest of the week. Maybe not the entire rest of the week, but next. Yeah. Don't think we have anything new. We have some problems with serial ports, but we know about that. We need to get the networking for a Pico working, but it should be simple enough. What do you mean for a Pico working? So we have an RP2040 example already, but we definitely need like bridging enough for the RP2040. But we have RP2040 demos already, so that should be all you need for a Pico. Or if you have a Pico 2, we have the 2350 stuff. Yes, but over network. Oh, yeah. I don't have any Ethernet demos. Well, okay. I don't have any embedded Ethernet demos. That would be a cool demo if you want to mess with that. I think I have some Wi-Fi Picos. They might only be like, I have the Pimeroni Pico 2W. But maybe I have the OG Pico W. I don't know. But yeah, if you've messed with that before, that would be a very cool like initial demo. I think you probably would need something like the stood TCP demos. You could use UDP or TCP. You could definitely use small TCP. You could maybe make a generic one over Embassy Net, especially if you have like a fixed destination, either IP address or like, I don't know how much MDNS works, but you can either use like a domain name or an IP address or something like that. But yeah, I think that'd be interesting. We should be able to glue Embassy Net to Ergot. Yeah, that would be cool. But yeah, I think that's probably it. If anyone else has questions in chat, I'll take a peek. I'm excited to get another contributor in. We're starting to stack them up, and I'm excited about that. Network I'm done with RP Pico is only Pico serve, so as a straight HTTP server. Yeah, I think you'd wanna do something with like raw TCP sockets or raw UDP sockets, but honestly, I haven't done a lot with Embassy Net. Most of my stuff is non-TCP networking. But yeah, whatever we get working, that would be cool. Yeah, I wish I could like filter out the lock files, because I feel like 90% of this is just lock files of like adding and removing lock files. But yeah. Yeah, we got hella new peeps. I'm excited. So you got to commit more demo projects. The more demo projects you commit, the more lines you get, because it's like, I have made a 20-line change, but also a lock file, which means that's 5,000 lines. Oh, yours is probably Nick's lock files too. I think you also added the STMF3 app, although I may have made that a workspace. I don't remember. No, it's gonna be in demos. STMF3 cargo lock. Oh, maybe I did this. Or maybe you did this. Yeah, you did the initial one. I probably just like updated a crate. But yeah, hella log files. Okay, cool. That's probably about it. I hope everyone has a wonderful evening. Come hang out in the Matrix chat if you have questions. We'll keep this one short so people can go back and watch it. Then, have an excellent evening, and I will see you all Wednesday. Wednesday morning is my next stream. Yeah. All right, time for dinner. Bye-bye.